that Dubois guy, though. Holy shit, man. The way he took out Anthony Joshua. Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now?
I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass.
So he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026.
Haters online are like, yeah, do it.
Well, they're like, what about now?
Yeah.
They're like, what about fight him now? He's like, no, I want to wait till 2026. We're like, okay.
Put on weight.
Put all steroids. Yeah.
I would watch. Here's the thing. I would watch.
Jake Paul's recent call-out of former heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has ignited a flurry of reactions within the boxing community. Paul, who transitioned from YouTube stardom to boxing, has expressed a strong desire to face Joshua, asserting confidence in his ability to defeat the British boxer. In a candid statement, Paul remarked, "I know that I would beat Anthony Joshua's ass. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skills, and he's stiff. I want to fight you." Side turn, zero search. This bold challenge has been met with skepticism and concern from various boxing figures. Promoter Eddie Hearn, who has worked closely with Joshua, acknowledged the potential entertainment value of such a matchup, but emphasized the significant risks involved for Paul. Hearn stated, "If Jake Paul wants to step up and fight Anthony Joshua, he'll need the relevant insurance." Side turn search 3 Joe Rogan, a prominent commentator and podcast host, also weighed in on the matter, questioning the timing of Paul's challenge. Rogan suggested that Paul's intention to schedule the fight for 2026 might indicate a strategic delay, possibly to allow more time for preparation or other undisclosed reasons. Side turn zero search 2. Adding to the discourse, Nakisa Bidarian, Paul's promotional partner, shed light on the motivations behind pursuing such high-profile bouts. Bidarian emphasized that Paul's interest in fighting Joshua is not financially driven but rather aims to test the limits of what's possible in boxing. He highlighted that Paul has been financially successful since the age of 18 and is more focused on creating disruptive and memorable events in the sport. Side turn zero search 1A's discussions around this potential matchup continue. It remains to be seen whether Paul and Joshua will indeed face each other in the ring. The prospect has undoubtedly sparked debate, with opinions divided on the feasibility and implications of such a fight.
I want to fight Anthony Joshua, exclusive, because I know that I will beat Anthony Joshua's ass.
I know he just got knocked out, right?
Yeah. He doesn't have a chin, and he has no skill, and he's stiff. And I love you, Anthony. We're friends.
Jake Paul's recent challenge to Anthony Joshua has ignited considerable debate within the boxing community. Despite their amicable relationship, Paul's call-out of the former two-time heavyweight champion has led fans and commentators to question the feasibility of such a matchup. Many experts highlight the significant challenges Paul would face due to Joshua's superior size, strength, and experience. Paul, who transitioned from YouTube to professional boxing, has shown improvement but has yet to compete against top-tier heavyweights. Some view his bold challenge as more of a publicity stunt than a genuine competitive endeavor. Nevertheless, this audacious move has kept Paul in the boxing spotlight and sparked discussions about the potential and realism of such a fight.
I love you, Anthony. We're friends. All shit, but I want to fight you. I will beat Canelo. I will beat a lot of people. I will not beat David.
Jake Paul's recent challenge to former two-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has ignited considerable debate within the boxing community. Paul, who has transitioned from YouTube to professional boxing, expressed confidence in his ability to defeat Joshua, citing perceived weaknesses in Joshua's fighting style. He stated, "I want to do that fight versus Joshua. Not now, but I want to do that fight to be a world champion at cruiserweight." Side turn 0 News 25, this bold call-out has elicited a range of reactions. Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, dismissed the challenge as entertainment rather than a serious proposition. He acknowledged Paul's promotional skills but emphasized the vast skill gap between Paul and Joshua, stating that Joshua would entertain the idea for the banter, but not as a legitimate fight. Side turn News 28 Joe Rogan, a prominent commentator and podcast host, also weighed in on the matter. He questioned the legitimacy of Paul's challenge and speculated about the proposed 2026 timeline, suggesting that the delay could be a strategy to enhance Paul's physicality. Rogan remarked, "Jake wants to fight Anthony Joshua now, so he wants to fight Anthony Joshua in 2026. I think he put on all the steroids." Saturn News 26. Despite the skepticism, Paul's team, including his promotional partner Nakisa Badarian, indicated openness to high-profile fights, aiming to test the limits of what's possible in boxing. Badarian mentioned that Paul is interested in challenging top-tier opponents like Joshua to push boundaries within the sport. Saturn News 25A's discussions continue. The prospect of a Paul-Joshua bout underscores the evolving landscape of boxing, where unconventional matchups are increasingly capturing public interest and pushing the sport's boundaries. Novelist Jake Paul challenges Anthony Joshua, faces criticism, turns your News 25, turns your News 27, turns your News 28.
The first time I've spoken about fights. To be honest, like, I look at it and I think Jake Paul against Anthony Joshua. I mean, look, for me, we'd do it for the banter. Do you know what I mean? Like, AJ would fight Jake Paul. He'd fight anyone, to be honest.
Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua's promoter, has addressed Jake Paul's recent challenge to fight Joshua. Hearn acknowledged the financial appeal of such a bout, suggesting it could generate significant viewership and earnings. He noted that Joshua is open to the idea, viewing it as an easy night's work. However, Hearn expressed disappointment with Paul's proposed timeline, questioning why the fight should be delayed until 2026 when it could take place sooner. He also emphasized the considerable disparity in experience and skill between the two fighters, implying that Paul would face substantial challenges against a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua. Saturn search.
The only thing that was disappointing was he says 2026. I mean, that's like calling someone out. That's like me saying, LA Olympics for the surfing 2028. I'll be there. Do you know what I mean? Do it in 2025 if you really want to do it. You're not going to get really much better at it.
Although Jake Paul is confident he can take on Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn finds the challenge far more amusing than realistic. Hearn considers the idea of Paul facing a former heavyweight champion to be highly unlikely and jokingly remarked that Paul would need the appropriate insurance if the bout were to take place. This comment underscores the significant risk Paul would face against a fighter of Joshua's caliber and reinforces Hearn's view that the matchup is more of a spectacle than a genuine contest.
Jake Paul wants to step in Joshua. He'll need the relevant insurance.
I performed a web search to ensure the context and phrasing accurately reflect the discussion. Based on the insights gathered, here's the revised version. In a recent discussion with former world champion Carl Froch, Amir Khan voiced serious concerns about the idea of Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua. Khan described the matchup as a clear mismatch, suggesting that such a bout could not only end Paul's YouTube career, but also potentially force him out of boxing entirely. Froch echoed these warnings, adding that the fight might even prove life-threatening, given the significant risks Paul would face against a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua.
Look, wow. I mean, I think what a mismatch that is.
Yeah, I agree.
Joshua would kill him. I mean,
do you think
Jake Paul...
I think AJ's way too big, and he throws a good 1-2 down the pipe, and if he lands that right hand on fake Paul's chin, it can game over, surely.
Jake Paul will never look at boxing again.
No, it'll be the end.
I mean, he'll never want to fight again. That'll be the end of even his YouTube career, in my opinion.
During the discussion, Paul publicly challenged Anthony Joshua, claiming that he could defeat the former champion. This statement came after his bout with Mike Tyson, which was criticized due to the significant age gap between the fighters. Notably, the heavyweight champion Jake Paul recently secured a controversial win against a 58-year-old opponent.
In these boxes, I mean, I don't think Mike Tyson should have ever taken that fight against Jake Paul. I mean, Jake Paul's now got a massive one over, even though Mike Tyson was in his 60s, but still he beat like a legend in the sport, you know what I mean? So really, Mike should never have done that, but I think they're making a mockery of boxing.
Taylor, manager of YouTuber-turned-boxer KSI, has criticized the idea of Jake Paul fighting heavyweight boxers like Anthony Joshua. He questioned the motives behind Paul's promotional team, suggesting that such matchups could seriously endanger Paul and that financial gain might be prioritized over his well-being. Taylor remarked, "Either he's really delusional or he only cares about the money," adding, "But once Jake has that fight, maybe he'll come back down to earth and have a real talk with someone on that level." Addressing the broader debate over Paul facing elite fighters like Anthony Joshua or Canelo Alvarez, Taylor emphasized the significant challenges and risks inherent in crossover boxing matches. He pointed out that Paul's ambition to take on top-tier professionals, despite his influencer background, highlights a concerning skill gap between influencers and seasoned boxers. Additionally, boxing trainer Dave Caldwell dismissed the idea of a fight between Paul and Joshua outright. He described Paul's challenge as tight and asserted that Joshua, a former heavyweight champion, would have no difficulty defeating Paul. According to Caldwell, the bout isn't even worth considering as a serious contest due to the vast differences in skill and experience.
Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua.
Oh my God. Like, listen, the guy's good at what he does. Yes, everybody, including us, talking about that's what we're doing. He's very, very good self-PR, but he don't have talking.
Furthermore, the American faced heavy ridicule on social media following his bold claim. Former boxer Caldwell asserted that Anthony Joshua would easily snap Jake Paul's neck with a single jab, while broadcaster Adolo Ladpio commented that 10 seconds is all it would take for AJ to win. Caldwell went on to emphasize that if the fight ever took place, Joshua would knock Paul out cold with minimal effort, even humorously suggesting that Paul's head would be decapitated by someone of Joshua's caliber. These remarks underscore the vast disparity between a seasoned elite boxer like Joshua and a celebrity-turned boxer like Paul, indirectly predicting Joshua as the clear winner of the potential bout.
He's not going to put himself in that position. He would run. Also, he'll be running around the ring it'll just be a bad spectacle until AJ catches up on him and smashes him to death. So he wouldn't put himself with his profile and his name and what he's doing. It's one of those where he's bluffing. It's not happening.
While Caldwell acknowledged that Jake Paul brings significant attention and entertainment value to boxing, he remains adamant that a fight with Anthony Joshua is not credible. Despite Paul's growing presence in the sport, Caldwell does not see him as a legitimate challenger to someone of Joshua's pedigree. Considering the matchup a clear mismatch with an inevitable outcome, a potential bout between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua would be a major crossover event, blending mainstream entertainment with professional boxing. Such a fight would likely draw international attention and attract fans beyond traditional boxing enthusiasts, boosting pay-per-view sales, sponsorships, and merchandise revenue. This crossover appeal could elevate event income and establish new financial standards. Promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed Joshua's willingness to fight, noting that Joshua would take on any opponent and that a fight like this would draw a sizable audience. If Paul were to face Joshua, he would be competing at a much higher level. Even a solid performance in defeat could enhance his reputation and lead to more prestigious opportunities. On the other hand, a lopsided loss might reinforce doubts about his place in professional boxing. For Joshua, the fight could be seen as a profitable, low-risk venture that offers significant financial gains without endangering his legacy. However, some detractors argue that such a matchup would detract from more competitive heavyweight bouts. Joshua has also shown interest in fighting Tyson Fury, a bout many view as more respectful and historic. In conclusion, while a contest between Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua could yield substantial financial rewards and widespread public interest, it also raises important questions about the ethics of competition and the future direction of professional boxing.